Well, good afternoon, Gilbert. Welcome to
Hello.
another episode of the Townsend podcast. We are excited for today's episode. We sat down with Jon Kidwell, one of a few of our return guests here to the
Yeah,
podcast.
and a adjunct faculty member. He
He is.
actually, so you could not only hear him on the podcast, you can go sit with him in class.
You could sit with him in class, or if you're like Gilbert, it was a few weeks ago that you just kind of cornered him at a
Yeah,
conference you were at. And it was
yeah.
like, hey,
First,
chat
I
with
went
us
to
a
his
little
booth
bit.
and I was like, "Where's John?" And then his wife was like, "He's not here right now, weirdo." And so, but then he came and found the Townsend booth, and it was all good. So, yeah,
Well, no, I mean, our relationship with Jon goes
yeah,
back now quite a few years. He has a lot of close connections here at our Townsend Institute. And it sounds like, even closer, with you now. But it was
yes.
fun to sit down with him again. He was one of our earlier guests on the podcast, came in to talk about his Leading Well book. Just
Yeah,
such
that
a
servant
huge,
leadership, that was a really
yeah,
good book.
it
I
was a
mean,
very good book.
yeah, so we use that in our classes. So I think that's a good book. So
They sure do. Our students love it. They love the book for the content, and they love when they look on the cover and they see his face, and then they get to see him in class, and they're like, wow, this is really cool.
that's right.
So it was exciting to have him on for another discussion. This time, we weren't talking as much servant leadership. But it, however, did kind of thread its way into some of our conversation. But instead, kind of a new model that he's done a lot of
Uh-huh.
research and consulting, gone into businesses about the essentials for a thriving workplace culture.
Yeah,
It's
and
awesome.
he came up with a great model, and one of the things, I mean, that took away from me, students talk about it, we hear things. Sometimes we have so many priorities, right? He was talking about
Yeah.
53 priorities this company had, right? And then to what's it going to be so people don't go crazy, maybe get it down to three and stuff. So, I
Just
mean, that
narrow it down.
narrow it down. That's one thing that was a takeaway for me from this episode.
It was huge. I think all of our listeners are going to get something from this again, whether you are, a leader or just an employee in your
Hmm.
organization, or if you are someone maybe looking to make a career pivot, right? Think
Yeah.
about some of these things as you look for what's the next workplace culture fit for
Hmm.
you, right? What's going to maybe help you thrive and be the best employee in your next vocation. So here we
Absolutely.
go, everyone. Let's listen into our interview with Jon.
Let's get started.
Welcome back, everyone, to the Townsend Institute podcast series. Gilbert and I are here today with a return guest, one of our favorite colleagues and adjunct instructors in our program, Jonathan Kidwell. Hello, Jon.
Yeah.
Howdy, y'all. It's good to see you.
And
It is
now on this episode, we can see his face because last
we
time it
can
was all audio.
It's true.
all audio.
Yeah,
Here we
yeah.
are
This
in the
is-
big
It's like
times.
it's like we're in class in
It's
the
like-
institute.
It's just like
It
class.
is. It is. It's
Yeah.
like a live session on Zoom with our students. It's excited to have you back on the podcast to talk about kind of what you've been up to since the last time. You, of course, are a familiar face for many of our Townsend Institute students who get the privilege of learning alongside you in some of our courses. But we want to talk a little bit about that and just some of your more recent research, writing, speaking, because we know that you're a busy man and you've been up to a
Mhm.
lot. So let's jump right into it, Jon. Tell us, since we've had
Oh,
you
my
on the
goodness.
podcast before, it's been a couple years here now. What
Yeah.
have you been up to?
Well, thank you. I'm honored. I think the biggest thing that we have been up to is building a tool for leaders so that they can get real-time insights on the health and performance of their people. Like that has been the big project for WorkWise. And then, just like y'all, the life outside of that is a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, a 4-year-old, a wonderful wife of now 16, almost 17 years, and just all that's cooking with that, and looking to, enjoy life, serve people well through work. But that tool in that platform, which we call Leadwell Plus, has definitely been the endeavor of the last 3 years. Yeah.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
amazing. That's amazing that it's been that
Yeah.
long, because I remember
Yeah.
early discussions we had with you about it, and obviously
Uh-huh.
had you on to talk about your book last time you were on. So, I mean, jump into it. Tell us a little bit more about this tool and how you've been using it.
Yeah. So it generated out of working with our clients, and they were saying things like, I think I'm missing it on the
Mm.
culture, right? I'm thinking it's X and I'm learning that it's Y, or I've just got this sense that something's not the same in this division, this department, or another CEO that said, I think I've got a communication problem. And it came out of like just the natural, we do training in leadership development. And it was like, well, remember, like we teach you, we taught all of your managers like this type of communication rhythm and using a weekly check-in and doing these things where it's a little bit of work, it's a lot of bit of people, and how are we relating with each other? And they're like, oh yeah, that's good, that's good. And then one of them finally said, like, I should just build that. And at that point I was like, huh? Like, what do you mean? And he's like, I should just have my IT guy build it. He's gonna be really mad. And I was like, hold on. Like, let me come back to you on that. And so then we started going and looking and taking what had I done? What have a lot of us done for years of kind of these weekly check-ins that you do with folks, where folks are giving you reports, or they're giving you their top 3 things, or, is this a thumbs up, thumbs down week? Everybody kind of had different rhythms on that.
Yeah.
And ways that they were approaching it. And so we started going to look and say, oh, what does the Bible say that we need? What does research say? What's Gallup saying? What's Deloitte saying? What's McKinsey saying? Like, what do they all say are some of these things that we need as a part of work so that it is going well? Kind of this healthy and successful approach. And so then we built it into the platform, and we started going back to folks, and people started saying like, yes, let's do it. And then they got in there, and we started coming alongside and coaching folks based on what people are checking in on workload and kind of challenging relationships with teamwork, and how to navigate a whole bunch of priorities that just get shoved all together. And thus, like, Leadwell Plus was born, and started supporting folks in that and saying, okay, as leaders, how can we have a pulse on what's going on? What are the things we really need to know? And how can we best serve and lead our teams based on reality, as quick as real time as we can make it?
Well, and I also think, John, sometimes people just want to be asked, right? I mean, the craziness or whirlwind or whatever of work happens, and then they're like, oh, nobody ever talked to me or asked me about this. And so to sit there and have a survey or a tool where every week they can just say, yeah, this is where I'm at this week, or this is what's going on, so
100% of the main drive on belonging is feeling heard, being seen, and being valued. And so if and as this tool can help do that, low stakes communication with my leader, letting them know how it's going in some different facets of work, a leader coming back, asking questions, getting curious, problem solving something with them, turning into that coach or that advisor that then helps steer them in the direction. And all of a sudden, it has been a trust building tool for these leaders as they get it, they review the check-in, they respond in there, and then they're following through and doing the work together. It's been pretty cool.
That's great. Well, and so out of Leadwell Plus, then did you create this essentials for a thriving workplace culture? Is that how some of that
you
came
got
together?
It. Like the yes and, right? It's where did the circle start? I'm not sure. But yes, 100%. That's what we were doing inside of that research. And when we first started Leadwell Plus, it was a survey that really checked in on how's your well-being? Like, do you feel recognized and supported? Do you do this? And it was good, and it was general. And we were trying to just put our mind around and put some structure around, like, why do these things work? And how come people keep leaving comments on the same things? And so in that's when we started going and diving into more of that research and saying, okay, what is really there? And what we discovered is that there are essentials, these pieces we need to be able to thrive at work. And thrive meaning we're healthy, we're successful. And just like the Webster definition, like there is vigorous growth in those areas. And
growth.
so what do we need for those things to be happening in a holistic, not just the P&L and not just the people, but how can we weave this together so that we're able to take a stab at this? We're doing really good work, being really good to people, and doing really well at it. And so that's really where it came from, and finding these 6 essentials.
I love that. Okay, so that's the impetus, that's the buildup, that's the kind of the conversations and things that were happening to lead up to this. So now let's jump right into it. Okay, so for our audience that's listening or tuning in, now's the time to get out your pen and paper. Not if you're driving, but get out your pen and paper, and let's jump
you can
into
play this
what.
back if you're driving.
Come back and just rewatch.
Even if you have
it.
the Tesla, right, where you still have to have your hands.
No, we're not going to be a part of any of that.
Yeah.
Gilbert, that's a whole nother episode and aside of like leaders. You should write the book, Gilbert. Like, you got to have your hands on the wheel, right?
Hands
like, doesn't matter if it's a
self-driving car. Amazing.
I mean, we could have.
No, that's the wrong direction, Gilbert. I mean, you can, but leaders, put your hands on the wheel.
Put your hands on the wheel.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to
Gilbert's
jump
next
in.
book is coming out February 2027.
He's ready. He's going to do it too. He's ready.
That's right.
He's ready.
Yeah.
We're doing it.
Okay. So the Thrive
6
Essentials.
The Thrive Essentials for workplace culture. So this framework that can really be adopted for any sort of workplace culture. We're talking large, small, national, international, any industry, right? These are the essentials.
And for me in my life, thinking about personally, these essentials are there for us to be able to thrive. So achievement. And I am not going because it's number one. We'll get to that of like, wait, what do we do? We all like the order, right? Of course. And this is alphabetical to some degree, and then I'm going to blow the alphabet. But achievement, goals, and we are making progress towards those goals. Belonging, that feeling of being seen, heard, valued, and getting to do some awesome stuff with people that we love and trust. Clarity is the next one. So clear communication, having the information I need when I need it. Significance, meaningful work, that purpose, whether it's personally or professionally in the work that I'm doing. Growth. So we're making progress in the right direction. I think I first heard Townsend say that at Ultimate Leadership, where it was like healthy things grow. It's kind of not a choice. Like that's what we see in nature, right? Growth. So that support, that development, and the positive and supportive feedback that helps us grow. And then that last one, health, sustainable rhythms and well-being. Those are the 6 essentials that we need. Like you said, it doesn't matter if it's a small business, if it's a large organization, whether you are operating in or out of the continental United States, or if it's just you and you're thinking about me at home. Like, yes, those 6 things right there, as they are present and growing, those are indicators of thriving.
You know, it's so interesting. We talked about this the other day, and you shared this model with us, and I had to go in and get some cell phones, right? And I went to this store, and I won't name what it is, but they often ask if I can hear them, right? Can you hear me now? And but I was talking to the guy, and he finally, I was like, oh, can we do this and that? And he goes, well, I'm just an ant. I have no power. I can't do. And I looked at him, I said, well, that's really quite sad. I feel bad for you. So I went to the different store, but I look at this and there's so many things that this person, obviously their culture and things are missing where he was at that point, for
100%.
Where he felt like he had no significance or what he was doing didn't matter.
Yeah.
So
belonging.
100%, and no agency inside of that either, right? So where does he have the opportunity to achieve something? He's just checking boxes and getting through there, and there's no growth path. Like it all starts to fall apart when these different things are missing, and it's awful because then we find ourselves, we're either trying to sustain something that we have. We're striving and we're missing over in different categories, kind of like driving that Tesla with a flat tire, right? Like it's only going to be as good as all 4 of those tires going down the road. Or like that gentleman, maybe I'm just trying to survive, man. Like it doesn't matter that I don't feel healthy and I don't feel like it's a healthy culture. I'm not being successful. Like this is a job. I got to get paid. I'm just trying to keep my head down and survive. And that is awful. It's awful. Yes, right? Like you said, some of the impetus of like work in this, we devote so much in our teams and the people that we're with, we devote so much of our lives to work. And Genesis shows that work was pre-fall. which means that it is good, right? Like we've been told it's going to be a toil, but we know there's a lot of toil, and we can redeem it. But we know pre-fall, so it's good. We know 1 Peter 4:10 tells us we each have a gift, and we're called to use it to serve others. So like there's a call for each of us, and we all get our space to go in there, and like. I think about so much how much work impacts folks like that individual, and how that starts to trickle and paint the rest of our lives. I mean, you all have probably had to. When I have really bad days at work, I don't typically have really good days at home.
It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's all connected.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It is 100% connected. And so
absolutely.
that's one of the reasons why we drive at this and want to help organizations assess it, and then start to take leadership actions and nudges so that we can start moving towards that, creating a space where all of us, the organization, the people, can be healthy and successful. And so. Sorry,
That's
got me
really
going.
great.
I want to protect and help every single one of the Can You Hear Me Now people.
You
they should love
can.
the work that they do.
That's right.
Well, and so I'd like to dissect this a little bit more, Jon, because this is great. And you gave the basic framework, and let's just spend maybe a minute or so on kind of each one and giving some real tangible examples. Because what I love so much about these essentials is, yes, a lot of this can be applied to the job, like you talked about, the job, the organization that you're going and you're getting paid to do. But so many of these apply to being the coach of the Little League team at the same time, or being the leader of your family, or again, all these other vocations that we play out in our life, right? In our churches and our communities. So the first one you mentioned, you talked about achievement.
Yes.
What does that look like? Is that kind of the celebrating the wins, making those goals known for when they've been reached, or what would that look like, say?
It's a great question. So I often get drawn back into Greenleaf in the servant as leader, and he sets up the servant as leader really, really well. Obviously, it's awesome, and it's like 3 pages in to the second chapter part, and he says like, and of course this begins because there is a goal. Like you don't actually turn to serve or to do this work if you don't have a goal. And so I would say that me, all of us as an organization, if I'm leading a team, if it's my family and I, like what is the thing that we are trying to achieve? What are we trying to accomplish with our summer? We were just riffing before we got on about summer. Like what's the goal of the summer? Ours, increasing responsibility of children. No, I mean, well, yes.
And have fun. But
and increase responsibility of our kiddos. Like that's our X to Y. Why are we doing that? Because my job is to get you to be high functioning, Jesus loving adults, not just good kids. Right. And so we need to increase some of that responsibility, clear your dishes. Right. But back to work. I think one of the most powerful things that we can do that sets up achievement is a big, old, hairy, audacious goal, if we steal Jim Collins, and just say, we are going here. We're going to grow to, we're going to achieve, we're going from X to Y by this time.
I love that.
And then we put that massive qualifier that draws every single one of us in emotionally, intellectually, and we say, because.
Yes.
We're going to go from here to here by this time, because. And then we tell them, because this is what's going to make us a sustainable organization. This is what's going to change the lives of 10,000 people. This is what is going to prepare us for the next iteration of the Institute, whatever it might be. But I think that achievement, so many organizations we go to and we'll ask like, hey, what's your goals? What are you trying to achieve? And they'll be like, well, we're supposed to get better.
Yeah. Right.
Or the goal is to grow. I was like, that's great. What does that mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
Right. And so being able to clearly put that there automatically gives us something that we can go towards, that then we can turn around, like you were saying, Ashlie, and we can celebrate it. Yes, by all means. Yes. Let's celebrate the milestones. Let's do different pieces that help us get there, because if that thing is a year out, 2 years out, 5 years out, like might need some encouragement and motivation along the way, for sure. But being able to set that now gives us something where I can actually go and say, I am making progress towards that. We
Right.
are making progress
Yep.
towards that.
Yep.
And it starts to
Short
bleed
term, long
into,
term. Yep.
yes,
Yeah,
and
I
it
like that.
bleeds into all those other pieces of, well, now I'm a part of something bigger than me, and that's
Yeah.
significant. And now I can sacrifice me for we, and that all of a sudden starts increasing our belonging, because now we're all trying to go into this. It's not just me sacrificing for a commission or to hit this personal goal, which is also good.
Yeah.
I can sacrifice for the greater team. And any single time we can put a team, I mean, you do this with residency. Anytime we can
Yep.
put a group of folks through struggle, challenge, authentic experience,
Right.
all of a sudden the connection, the
Yeah.
trust, that level of belonging starts to increase.
It's huge.
Yeah.
That's great.
Well, I like that. And the next one is that significance or no? Clarity.
So if we're going, like, we have a wheel, we should attach it or put it or
Oh,
link
it's
it
gonna
in
be in the
social.
Put
show
it in the
notes.
message
but
notes.
It'll be there.
yes,
It'll be in the
that's
notes so they
great.
can
So if
look
we're
at
going
it.
around, then we would say significance. And we
Significance, yeah.
tie significance to, do I believe in the work that the organization's doing, right? Is it
Yeah.
a greater
Yeah.
purpose? Does it matter to me?
Yeah.
Because there are fantastic organizations that do
Yeah.
wonderful work that I'm not drawn to. That's not the place that I've been called to do.
Right.
Yeah.
And that still means it might not be a fit for me, but it is for a lot of folks. And am I able to bring my strengths, my
Yeah.
genius into the work that I'm doing? When I can do those, something that I see as, this makes a tremendous amount of good.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not just talking church nonprofit. I mean the local engineering firm
Yeah.
that says, we create stable communities
Mm.
because they take care of all of the water that goes to all of your
Yeah.
HOA and your
Right.
municipality district.
Yeah.
And they're looking inward and saying, we create stable communities for our folks
Yeah.
by being profitable and by making sure that this stuff is secure. Like, that is a great purpose. Like, just, I always think whenever I'm with them, I'm like, y'all, yes, because if my water goes out, like, whoo, all of a
Yeah.
sudden,
Yeah.
nobody's thriving.
Right. That's
Right?
true. This is very
You don't
true.
realize how important some of those services are, right? Until like they don't pick up your trash for a couple of days. And then all of a
100%.
sudden, like, it's sitting out at the curb and you're like, oh yeah, this is kind of a big deal, right? Like it's good
Yes.
to have all these services going and there's significant things they're doing.
I love that.
So
Well, and that significance piece makes me think about here at the Townsend Institute. One of the first questions we ask potential students that tune into our information sessions is, what's your passion? Right? What are you passionate about, or what are those significant pieces of your life? And again, yes, for many of us, it's, we're trying to collect a paycheck too, but there's so much more that can come to that. And I think especially for our audience out there that's really contemplating perhaps a job change, a career change, or where I want to volunteer or put the rest of my time, not just looking at kind of the bottom line of these, but what are some of these organizations that are serving a bigger purpose or more significance that kind of meets you where you're at? I think that's huge.
yeah.
Wow.
It is. And then if I can come in and do something that I'm uniquely gifted to do, even greater, right? If I'm in there and I love the accounting and the spreadsheet, God bless you and thank you. And like, we need you
Glad God
because
made you that
nobody
way.
wants a creative accountant. We please and thank you. And then if my role is something different and it is it's going to speak or it's writing or it's doing this, or if you're the strategist or if you're the salesperson, I mean, goodness, not all of us are wired for that, but how amazing if you get to start using some of your gifts and talents to be able to do that, and the significance that you find in being able to do that with a bunch of people that you like hanging out with for something that's bigger than all of you. And all of a sudden that's what we start to see. Viktor Frankl had that too in some of his Man's Search for Meaning. Is like, get involved in a project, get outside and get doing stuff that's beyond yourself. And you start to find this beautiful meaning and significance.
I love that. And we at Concordia, we're the Great Commission University. So talk about that, right? Meaningful work and getting to do it alongside colleagues is really great. Okay, so we've touched on achievement, the importance to have clear goals, the significance, really finding meaning in the work that you do. Now let's go back to that clarity piece, because I think that's huge, right? We've got to be able to clearly explain and communicate what that means so that we don't end up with things like, well, we just want to get better. Right? Because that's hard. So talk a little bit more about clarity.
This is the ever-decaying piece of the organization. As soon as we set it and walk out of that meeting, it is already starting to decay. Right. And so this one honestly is one of the hardest ones to fight against, because there are so many different ways of communication, body language communication, the tone of it, the fact that I've talked to you, the fact that I haven't talked to you, the fact that now I've got all these different channels that information is flowing between, from Teams to Zoom to Monday.com to whatever it is. Like, all of these things are there. And then there's also just us talking and completely being ships passing in the night. Like, this is the ever decaying one. And this is the one that I would tell folks and encourage folks, like, this is the one that you have to always fight against. The good news is that you're setting up the structure. So just communicate the things you already communicate, right? Do less more often. If we can do less more often, communication and clarity goes a long, long, long way.
I think about the multi-layered part that you just said. I hadn't even thought about that, right? Like, you're sitting there doing your thing. You're like, well, I just heard maybe Cindy's doing this, and oh wait, I thought I was doing that. And now, instead of talking to you're just making things up and
it's gospel truth.
Yeah. That's right. So
yeah.
So
this is that piece where, as leaders, we get to engage and just go into the fray, and we have to use all of the skills and tools we have for active listening, for being curious with questions, and also bringing in that strength and that assertion of, nope, this is what we said, this is what we're doing, here's reality, here's where we are, here's transparency on the numbers, here's all this, whatever that is. But let's just like simplify it down, because that's the big old macro, and there are some organizational pieces to help organize that. What are people really looking for? They're looking for stability. Do I know what those goals are? Do I know what I'm supposed to do? They're looking for, do I have the information I need when I need it to be able to go do my job? That right there is one of the core questions of Gallup's engagement survey, and we ask a similar one inside of our weekly check-in of how is communication? Do I have the information I need? And that really drills it down of, do they have it? Then you can start to piecemeal or pull apart the, why don't you have it if you don't have it? Is this a timing thing? Is this a channel thing? Is this? But if you don't do anything else, I think asking folks regularly, do you have the information you need to be able to do your job?
Yes.
And all of a sudden you will start to learn, and they're going to paint the picture for you if it's one of the other essentials, or if it's just like, I mean, I was sick and there was a meeting and nobody told me, am I supposed to do anything? Like, it could be as simple as that. And it could be as complex as, I thought so-and-so was doing X, Y, and Z, and I could really use some help with what are my key results in this job, and what are we trying to accomplish?
Wow. That's huge. And, you get me on that one, the clarity, the communication piece, because, we have so many options at our fingertips, but that has just made it so much more difficult, right? Because it's you can't follow the shiny thing here, right? It's not the more the better, it's the less is more, I think, is key. And I think sometimes organizations make just kind of try to do everything, right? Let's use every tool under the sun. And then people get confused, because then it's like, where is this information coming from? And so for organizations to really dial in on what are going to be our channels, what information is coming from whom at one time through what channel, so that people can expect that, right? That's huge.
I think you said it. If we name channels, what do we do where? All of a sudden, we've given everybody a path, a clear road to run down. And then one of the other ones, just really small. Think about individual teams, right? There's a team leader, there's a manager, there's direct reports. The very simple and yet very, very effective of, we use email for this, we text for this, and we talk on the phone for this. We personally, I try to tell everybody to do that. And I believe that analog dialogue is the way to go. So I'm a huge fan of that, just face to face, right? And we say email, 24-hour response, and it's usually sharing information. Text messages means I need something right now, it's more urgent, or we're being goofy and having some fun. And a phone call is like emergency, critical, we got to talk, with the big old asterisks of, we also might be in the car, but we'll make sure we leave that in the voicemail. But we do email 24 hours, text is now, phone calls emergency. And like just setting that out, all of a sudden
just
folks
laying
know.
it out there, because that's
protocols.
huge,
I
right?
like that.
That's very, very, very good protocol. So that was good. Okay, I like that. We've got achievement, significance, clarity. Now you're going to talk to us about number 4, which is health.
Yeah. This one is so hard, and it's this one always feels like we're driving down the road and you can go to the ditch on the left, which maybe it's me as an organization take too much kind of control of that and try to dictate too many things in terms of sustainable well-being and rhythms and when people are working, and there's even research, Simon Sinek referenced it, where people that don't just clock in and clock out, but actually engage in some of their work on the weekends, like they're actually more engaged, they love it more, they stay longer. Like, so there's the ditch where we could be so over prescribing, or the like we focus on it so much that we take away that personal responsibility, or some of the focus on why the collective is there, which is the work. But then we can also go in the other ditch of we don't ever do anything about it, and it's all personal responsibility, and we just drive, and you hear the sayings, and people say it all the time, is like, the business never sleeps, and the business doesn't care, and the business will always demand, the organization will always take, right? Even as each of us as people set our boundaries, even as each of us look at, how do I make sure that I'm building hobbies and life teams and everything outside of work, like the organization is going to take, right? And so there's those two ditches, and I believe and have found that it's a combination of the two. It really is an integration. There's some organizational responsibility, kind of setting some of those protocols and some of the rhythms of, this is what we do. This is our expectations. This is what I am as a leader am going to model. And this is the area where you get to pick up personal responsibility. This is the area where you have to, I mean, just today, one of my team members said, my husband is sick. They're not feeling well. They're dizzy. I'm going to drive them to the doctor. There wasn't actually a question in there. One, because she knew that she should go, right? And like, you should do that. And then she followed up because she's sweet, and she's like, I am coming back to work. And I was like, please take care of Zach, and we'll see you when we see it, right? Like,
we'll see you later.
And if it was a major problem, she would have called and said, like, I know we've got this thing this afternoon. I know I got to be on at a specific time. Like, what do you think? And we'd have figured it out. But it's that we have to be able to collaborate in that space. And if we're not talking, if we're not being honest, if I'm hiding things on my calendar by blocking them instead of just putting in like annual physical or whatever, I mean, all of a sudden you start to give permission to folks. And the best way to do this is organizational structure and support with localized teams being able to navigate it for themselves. Some of our folks, right, there's 10-person, 40, 50-person small businesses. We can still get our arms around all that. When we're talking about 1,000, 5,000 people, we've got principles and frameworks, and we've really got to empower our managers to be able to lean into, how do we do things at this place to be able to support the health and the sustainability of our people and of our work.
Well, and sometimes it gets addictive, right? This the work stuff, right? I mean, I know one guy, he got transported to the hospital. He thought he was having a heart attack. I think it was panic or stress or something. But he was sitting in the hospital bed taking Zoom calls, right? I said, hey, man, you got to turn it down a little bit, because your body's telling you it's not sustainable. But every time he got on a call, he made money off of that. And so and the culture rewarded him, right? Now he's got a free trip to Tahiti and stuff. And so it's kind of scary where you see it's not sustainable, but yet people are addicted and brought into that. So,
You bring up an excellent point on the incentives that we have, and just thinking about like our devices. I do not get feedback, affirmation, and quick hits of money like I do at work. But I mean, we can do that on our phones too, but you wonder why those things draw us in there. And it is 100% of what is the structure that we are rewarding and incentivizing, and how
Yes.
can we figure out how to build that in a sustainable way? And when we can do that, right, through the behavioral actions and the structural incentives that we put in there, then
Yep.
that's where the organization can lean in.
Yeah.
And just like that gentleman, I mean, he could have had the best boss in the world being like, please, like, I'm literally going to have IT just shut you down.
Shut you down
And
for
he's
a
still
second.
doing it, right? Like it's a both and. We all get to lean into that.
Yeah. Well,
Wow.
so as we talk about health, maybe we get
Yep.
that figured out, but then it seems to go into growth, right? What does that look like? Where have you seen that? What do healthy cultures have going on for that?
I think the biggest one for growth, if we bring it down to how can I as a leader or a team member, like what does that really look like to me?
Yeah.
Just over and over and over and over again for the last 10 years. Growth, development, career track. That is the top 4 reasons that people come to a place or leave a place.
Yep.
So individuals are looking for that. And where we are today in the, I might not have the 10 to 20 to 30 year career track of I'll go be an associate to a manager, to a director, to a regional, to that, like that is not happening like it did before. And so individualizing growth, taking ownership of my growth inside of an organization or even outside of an organization, I'm looking at it just as an individual. What is it that we are doing to fuel our people? It would be people first, because growth in the organization is an outcome, right? That's really what we're trying to get all of this to point at, is growth for the organization. These are all, if we use Townsend's language, these would all be the nutrients that then give us some of those results that we're looking for, right? And so taking it down to how can I help you, that person that is on my team, that person that I'm around, how can I help them grow? How can I do that with a combination of structured plans?
Right.
What's the skill that you want to attain? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? And what type of work would you like to be doing?
Oh, yeah,
And then
people are
turn around
afraid
and
to answer that one, right? Because because they don't all afraid they're going to give the wrong answer. So,
I know. And is there a wrong answer?
I don't know. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
right. But I know what you mean.
Yeah.
And it feeds into that last one, which is that we'll get to in just a second. But being able to sit down and have the conversation and support the structure of, hey, I'm coming back around to this, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it's been 2 months. Did you sign up for that training? How's that training going?
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
didn't we send you to Concordia? Like, give me an update. What class are you taking right now?
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
All
like
of those
that.
There you
pieces.
go. I like the
and
shameless
being able
plug.
to, I have no shame in the plug for Concordia. It's fantastic. And when you come to Concordia, you should sign up and take servant leadership
Yes.
and ethical decision making and cultural foundations.
There you go.
Double
Nice
shameless
little
plug. All right.
That's right.
Anywho, back into the growth that one can get through Concordia University Irvine. But back into growth of just being able to structure and support that at an individual level as much as possible. Everywhere that we look, it's hyper individualized in my shopping experience. It's hyper individualized in my video experience. It's hyper individualized there, and there is an expectation of that for individuals for their growth, and figuring out how to do that with routine support, correction, feedback, right, and being able to help them with grace and truth is going to be the thing that helps them grow. And I that would be the focus. And then the org growth, yes, we want, and that is an outcome where we can do all of the work on the front end, and we believe it's a strategic bet that it's going to happen. And I mean, like y'all know, some of that is in the Lord's hands and some of that is in outside, but we are going to do everything in our control to be able to make the environment where that's possible.
This is so great. I obviously love this conversation on growth, again, being such an important part about what we do here at the Institute.
Yeah.
From the very first class, our students in the first week, they're developing a growth plan. This is a growth plan that follows them through their entire program and we hope follows them through their entire life, right? This idea of
Yeah.
lifelong learning, both from
Yeah.
the professional level, and that kind of stuff has been around for a long time. How can we are there conferences we can send you to
Hmm.
or things that we can do to kind of, help you grow in your, profession? But then that personal growth as well and how
Yeah.
important that is. And
Yeah.
as you mentioned, you have a bad day at work and it influences home and vice versa. And so
Yeah.
it's the combination of both. What personally might need to be mended, relationally,
Yeah.
or what's something that we're fighting that, and so many more organizations are pouring into that, which I think is wonderful. I mean, I was reading an
Yeah.
article just last week about the rise of employee assistance programs, right?
Mhm.
EAP
Yeah.
benefits
Yeah.
covering a whole gamut because there's that recognition that the healthier and the more growth we're doing personally, that is undoubtedly going to affect more of the professional side.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
great. I
Yeah.
love
It's
that.
a
That's the
growth plan.
growth.
Huh? We don't have our students do character stagnation plan. I mean, that
No,
would be,
of course not.
no, that would be a different school. But yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. No, I love that growth. That's so important. That was the fifth one, John. We got to get to
Yeah.
the sixth one because this is
Yeah.
such an important one as well. Let's talk
Mm,
about belonging.
Yeah. I when we can do those other things,
Hmm.
we give ourselves the structure that is able to have that team mentality, right?
Hmm.
And one of the it's like, is it really this simple? I don't want it to be. It's obviously not. But one of the key indicators is, do I have a best friend at work?
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
is such a drive of how much I
Hmm.
love the workplace and feel like I belong. Is, do
Right.
I have a person? Like
Yes.
for me, I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, one, that takes a lot of pressure off, but two, I know that that's not the end of the end
Right.
of the end of the end of all things, right? And so, what is it with belonging? I think Seth Godin has a great book on tribes, of like building that
Mm,
tribe, and
Yeah.
and I. Everybody always asks me, and they're like, "What's the perfect culture?" And I don't know. I'm still on this side of eternity, so I can't tell you.
Yeah.
But what I
Right.
can tell you is, like, you need your culture,
Yeah.
and it should not restrict health and performance. You should be able to do
Mm.
those things. If it restricts those, you're probably going to start running into some places where you start to create striving
mm,
and or some coasting in some different places where people are struggling to survive. But I mean, think about the amazing places that are out there, from Concordia to the Chick-fil-A's to
Mhm.
the Hobby Lobbies to the Southwest. So all the, like,
Mhm.
there's elements of those, kind of like the six things we're talking about today. Like, they all have aspects of those pieces that
Mhm.
are woven in there, but yet there is so much unique personality,
mhm.
that
Mhm.
belonging really drives out of us being clear on,
Mhm.
here's the values and the
Right.
personality of this place, and then this team inside of
Yeah.
this place. And if that works for you, that's great. We want you here. That, like,
Right.
if this is you, come, 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 come. If not, it's probably not going to be good for you.
Right.
And so it's being really, really inclusive and really, really specific to, here's who we are, here's how we operate. Kind of
Yeah.
goes back to the clarity of
Right.
these are the things, like, you're getting in on, and we want you here if you want to be in on these things.
That's great.
Setting that as the stage, and then inside of that, man, especially the younger we
Right.
get in our generations,
Yeah.
if I, as an individual, y'all, if I can be authentic, if I
Mhm.
can be transparent, if I can take down some of the things that are keeping me in a barrier
Mhm.
from
Mm,
just conversational relationship, if
Right.
I can make the formal stuff formal but the informal stuff informal, like, those are the elements that start to just absolutely cultivate a team where we've got belonging, we've got
Yeah.
each other's
mhm.
backs, and kind of like we said in residency, if that is a shared struggle, a shared
Mhm.
experience, a shared time of being able to have something that we all know that we have this in
Right.
common, and push come to shove, we're going to be for each other.
Yeah.
Uh, that is going to be what starts to foster that belonging. So, like, I never want, you all never
Yeah.
want, like, struggle or pain, or some challenge,
Right.
and sometimes that's such a good, wonderful thing, because then we look on the other side and we're like, yeah, right. Like, we
You
did
gotta
that
have a little
together.
bit of it, maybe, huh?
Remember
Yeah,
that time in South Dakota when we
yeah,
did that thing and da, da,
Yeah,
da? And it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So being able to do that and
yeah,
thinking about that as a leader, how do I create these, whether it's through food, whether it's through an intense season on something that's really important, whether
Yeah,
that's through high structure time and really low structure time,
right.
whether that's through just asking, hey, what was
Mhm.
everybody's first job? Okay, great,
Yeah,
great, great. Yeah, oh, no, me too. Right. And
yeah,
and it's
yeah,
building
always
that
yeah.
funny if somebody's like, "Oh, this
identification.
one, yeah,
Uh,
that's it, this
yeah,
one here,
right.
never worked
Yeah.
before, day of my life." So yeah,
How'd you get in? Right.
Yeah.
No. But being able to set those things up in team meetings and in
Wow.
offsites and just, everyday experiences that we have at work fosters that belonging of I'm a part of something.
Mhm.
They get me, I get them, and I'm valued to be here. They
yeah,
thank me for my work, and I see how I fit into everybody else's
Mhm.
work.
yeah. Well, John, I love this model. This is a clear
Wow,
model. I mean,
thank you.
people can put this up on the wall. They can laminate it. I mean,
Yeah,
this would be
yeah,
fun. They could put it in their house, on their fridge, and things like that. But for their family, I like the personal. But let's do a little story time. Can you
okay,
share
dokie.
maybe how you've used this essentials for a thriving workplace culture framework to change a culture? How you've used
Yeah.
this out there in the wild?
Oh man, and it is wild.
Mhm.
I so first, I would say I don't. I know I haven't changed anybody else's culture. Like the folks there are the ones doing the work, right?
Sure.
The
Mhm.
leaders in the organization, the team members that lean in and contribute, whether it's through the check-in in Leadwell Plus, and they're raising their hand and saying, "Hey, this was
Mhm.
challenging this week," or "This is going really great. And let's
Right.
celebrate that."
Yeah.
Those are the folks that are doing it. Like 100% kudos to them. They are the ones that are leading and creating this change. And the ways that we have done that is working with executive teams
Yeah.
to assess and then to start planning out some of those. What is the big goal?
Right.
What is getting in the way of clarity? Worked
Yep.
with one organization and we said, what's most important right now? And they looked at their project management dashboard. They had 53 open priority projects.
Wow.
That
And
that that
for those that
yeah.
aren't looking at us online, I'm blinking a
Yeah.
lot in a very
It
ironic
would make you
fashion,
twitchy,
right?
yeah. That would
Yeah, and so like, whoa! And they've made a tremendously difficult and simple decision. Three, they were going to resource three
mm,
projects at any given time. If it wasn't
Mm.
one of those three, you had to resource it or figure it out on your own. But we're going to do three, and when one comes off, then we'll put the next one on.
Yeah.
And all of it, like,
yeah.
whoa!
Yeah.
Like that
Yeah.
structure, that clarity, that simplicity. So we will work with them. We come in, and as a part of Leadwell Plus, we do like we're a weird technology company because we like leadership development. And so like we turned our onboarding into this is a team building and this is a
Mm.
trust building activity. And we get them to build team action plans of how they're going to use it.
Yeah.
I am a huge believer in the organizations are really just made up of a bunch of individual teams and we get to
Mhm.
point them at the same thing. And so we try to get in local with what is the most localized team that we can. And
Yeah.
we turn that into an opportunity for them to start building trust with each other, to build their own plan of how are they going to utilize this tool and point it at the thing that they're supposed to do for work. And so we've done that. We, you know, work with individuals just doing coaching because getting into the nitty gritty of
Mhm.
clarity and conflict
Mhm.
and how do we set goals and how do I hold somebody to this or
Right.
what does it look like to have that conversation around rebalancing workload. It's tough, and
It's tough.
so the way that we have done that is that. But I mean, I'm thinking about an organization. Actually, the lady that is there, that's their COO, and I won't say their name for her sake, but I should because she's awesome and they're awesome. She's a Concordia grad, and she came to
Mm.
me a couple of years after and said, "Can you come work with us?" And so we have worked with them now for 4 years
Wow.
in different capacities, and they've engaged in this kind of top to bottom. We've done some management training. We've done some
Amazing.
people skills trainings. They
Yeah.
operate on Leadwell Plus, and they've been a best place to work for 4 years in a row. They have seen significant growth And one of my favorite stories is there's a vice president there. They were closing down one of their retail spaces, which is so hard. Like it's hard anytime. And, we know pruning is necessary and it still sucks. And like, I don't want to cut that lime off my tree. It could be the right one. So it's a hard time. It's a hard time for all of us. There's people that are at that retail operation that are sitting there. And even though the organization said nobody's losing their job, immediately I'm thinking, am I losing my job? Right. And that's where the people were. They saw that inside of Leadwell Plus. They saw the movement in terms of friction and teamwork, in terms of ambiguity and communication, in terms of individuals' well-being and stress that was coming on. And that VP went and sat there and talked with folks and organized people and had conversations for 2 weeks. And everybody stayed. And everybody went to a different place. And over the next 12 months, they outperformed the industry average in growth 5x.
Wow.
That is just awesome. And kudos to him. That guy going and doing that.
Thriving.
Right?
That's a good Christmas for
everybody. Wow. That's amazing, Jon.
And to being able to lean in and have the conversations and work with their team. Because they're doing it. And that's what it looks like, right? Like in that story, there was loss. They closed someplace, but there's also the, hey, we got this. We're together in this. We're for you, and boom. And then a lot of hard work, but tremendous amount of growth and financial profitable success for them too.
This is amazing, Jon. Wow, so many success stories. And I know we could sit here today and talk about so many more and the amazing work that you and your team continue to do. We mentioned that we're going to go ahead and link the 6 essentials, 6 Thrive essentials in our episode notes, as well as your company website for people that want to go. They're listening in, they're taking notes, and they say, man, I want to apply this. How can I get more of Jon and his team? We'll make sure that we link that website as well, just with all more information where they can find out more about, your research or bringing you into their organization to help maybe foster some of these turnarounds. But as you know, as a repeat guest here on our podcast, we end all of our episodes with a takeaway tip. So, Jon, I know it's hard to pick just one, but what can you leave our listeners with today?
It's so funny. I was thinking about this before. I knew it was coming, and I was thinking about it. And here's what I thought. Probably because I am a growth junkie, right? Like,
love it.
Core value, growth. Yes. Some of us are also there. My tip is choose one thing. I am so guilty of having 7 books going. I am guilty of starting 3 different courses. I am guilty, and we just went through this as an organization. We decided at the beginning of the year that we set one target. And we have other aspects of work, but we said, this is it. This is the one thing that we're doing this year. We call it our unifying initiative. And so the power of doing one thing in a growth area is just, it's so good. And it instead of that shotgun scatter plot approach, just saying, I'm going to laser in on this. That would be my tip and takeaway is love growth. Guilty of trying to grow in all the things all the time. And there is power in choosing one thing. It will still ripple and impact other areas of your life.
That's amazing. That. Oh my gosh. Well, Jon, thank you so much. Thank you for being with us today on the podcast. Thank you for continuing to teach our students as an instructor in our institute, and for just the amazing work you continue to do to contribute to this field of organizational culture and development. It is so important, and we are so fortunate to have a servant leader like you in your team. So thank you. Thank you.
Thank you both. This was so fun and such an honor.
Fun.
Thank you for having me.
Have a good
Jon, for being here.
If you enjoy the Townsend Institute podcast series, head to our website at cui.edu/Townsend to find out more about the certificates, bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees offered through Concordia University, Irvine. With programs in mental health counseling, executive coaching and consulting, and organizational leadership, we have a variety of faith-based programs dedicated to helping you fulfill your academic and professional goals, all the while furthering your competence, character, and connection. Again, that's cui.edu/Townsend.